Hey, good afternoon. Russell Hotels going live just for a couple minutes. You guys know how I do it. Hey, you know what? Or maybe you don't know how I do it, but you know what? This is the first time I've done a live this week. I've been traveling. I've been I've been traveling. Let's put it like that. Okay? You don't need to know where I am at this point, right? An undisclosed location. No, I'm in Texas, but this is the first time I actually got a chance to do a live. I did a conversation with Mr. Victor Simmons yesterday. That was a podcast on personal branding. Hope you guys check that out. If you didn't check it out, please go and check it out. It is here on LinkedIn. We're live on LinkedIn, live on YouTube. This is a daily check-in with Russell of Hotels. So if you hadn't checked out the podcast yesterday on LinkedIn on personal branding with Victor Simmons and Dr. Rhea Horton, please do so. Please check it out and tell me what you think. But once again, this is a daily check in. I do this Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. This is actually the first time I've done a daily check in or on air with Russell of Hotels, which I did not do this week just because I've been traveling and doing some things that kind of, you know, kind of prevented me from doing it. But that's okay, right? Because I got a chance to, spend some time. Um, Helping my daughter move. So that's what that was all about. So it's more of a personal thing than more than and less of business. So, sometimes you just got to take some time off and just kind of, reevaluate what's going on. And that was one of those things. Okay. So helping her move and just kind of me getting kind of used to the area and stuff like that and finding some non-meat eats, which I did. So those were my goals, right? Finding some non-meat eats, which I did. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see one of the places I went for the non-meat eats. So anyway, the chat are open. The chat, let's see. Let me just make sure. Is the chat open? The chat is open, so feel free to make comments. You can make comments on LinkedIn or on YouTube. So if you don't follow me on YouTube, please do so. Go to Russell of Hotels. That's RUSSELLOF Hotels, and subscribe to my channel. If you haven't done that, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It'll go bing, and anytime I go live, you'll get a notification. So there you go. So the chat is open. So feel free to make your comments. So anytime I do one of these shows, I'm always going to showcase a hotel, and today is no exception. But let me just make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But yeah, let's see. So today's hotel is what is today's hotel? It's actually the Lowe's Coronado. So I did a fam trip there. Maybe was that the beginning of this year or was that last year? I can't even remember. But I want to say beginning of this year. So I did a fam trip there and was able to um, get introduced to a lot of the hotels in Coronado. Now, Coronado is located right next to San Diego, basically across the bay. There's a Coronado Bridge that goes from San Diego to Coronado, or actually, you don't even have to take the bridge. You can drive all the way around. But some people, you know what? I didn't even know that. I thought you had to go across the bridge to get to Coronado. But I quickly found out that no, you can take another route and just take the road. It's just a little longer, but it's not that much longer than to take the bridge. If you don't like bridges, then don't take it. Okay, go around. So that's a good thing. But yeah, so I was able to get introduced to Coronado, specifically the Lowe's Coronado, because that was our host hotel. And as you can see down at the bottom, it says 440 guest rooms and about 70,000 square feet of meeting space. So the pictures or the photos I'm going to show you will be of that hotel. And I do have a little topic, but before I get to this, because these things don't have to be that long, these daily check-ins, it's just just a way for me to kind of check in and talk about a couple topics and then keep it moving. So because I know you guys are busy and I'm busy as well. So let me see if I can show some of these photos. And you may not hear me, but I'm gonna go through the photos first and then I'll talk at the end. Okay. So you may not be able to hear me because for some reason the thing that I'm using is not working like I want it to work. And it's probably operator error, which normally it is. That's the case. But anyway, so once again, the photos I'm going to show you will be Lowe's Coronado. And once I go through the photos, I will start talking again. So as you can see, that is the bar area. And it's right. It opens up to outside, as you can see the windows right there. There's a patio. You can see the bay from there as well. And this is my guest room right here. You can see the bay right there. You see the water right there on the left? You see, I mean, you got two chairs out there. I was out there drinking a beer, watching the what was I watching? Watching the waves crash. That's the lobby area right there. And that's outside the patio. That's kind of it is a fire pit, and you can take your beer out there, take your wine out there, and just kind of relax and just be with the fire right there in front of you. So very nice, very scenic out there, very calm. And we had a reception, and this was on one of the lawns and overlooking the bay. Just a great place to have like a bunch of high boys, and I think there was a bar over there as well, of course, and there's food here as well. So just like I said, very very scenic. And this was an opportunity to board the yacht. Now, this is not owned by Los Coronado, but I'm sure through their DMC in Coronado, they're able to utilize this. So we had a group of I don't know, maybe 20 people or so. So we did an evening kind of catamaran ride around the harbor, which included going by the naval base and seeing a lot of the ships. That was kind of cool. So can kind of give you a different perspective of Coronado from the water. So it was great experience. Thank you. Shout out to Sherry. Okay, so she was the one that arranged this. So shout out to Sherry with Discover or Visit Coronado. And let's see, I showed that already, but let me show me. So there you go. So that was once again that was the Lowe's Coronado. And as you know who I am, this is a daily check-in with Russell of Hotel. So I did have a quick little topic. It won't be long, right? Won't be long. But I was having this conversation today with someone, right? I was having this conversation, and the conversation had to do with branding, kind of similar to the branding conversation I had with Mr. Victor Simmons yesterday. If you didn't hear what I said earlier, I did a branding thing yesterday about personal branding, how to get your brand out there. So if you haven't checked that out, it is on my LinkedIn page. So feel free to check that out. It was with Victor Simmons as well as Dr. Rhea Horton. So that was actually a good one. If I do say so myself, although I was there doing it, but it was a lot of fun. And I think it's a lot of good information. So I was having this conversation with someone earlier today regarding that. And they had mentioned a hotel that was in their city. And I want to say their city is outside of what is it? It's Canton, Ohio. Okay, Canton, Ohio is where the Pro Football Hall of Fame is. So I was talking to this gentleman about hotels in that particular area, and he mentioned a hotel, and I won't mention that hotel right now, but I looked the hotel as I'm having this conversation with him. I looked the hotel up on various platforms that we utilize as meeting professionals. Let's just say I looked it up on CVent. Okay, and one thing that I noticed, there were no photos of this hotel. There was no photos of meeting space, of the lobby, the guest rooms. There was no photos at all, which was ridiculous because if you're trying to, I guess, appeal to meeting professionals and knowing that CVent is probably the number one, well, it is the number one platform that meeting professionals use, and you have no pictures at all. There's no evidence of you being, there. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? I mean, you do have this hotel had a footprint there, meaning when I typed in the name of the hotel, it did appear, but when you go and look for photos, there's no photos at all to be found. So it made me think, how many hotels are missing the boat when it comes to that? And I'm always talking about branding and putting your brand out there, letting people know who you are and all that kind of stuff. And for a hotel not to have photos on CVent, I think that's ridiculous. It also goes with like LinkedIn. Like, okay, every hotel should have a LinkedIn profile. Every hotel should have a LinkedIn profile. You should be able to go to and find a company page or a hotel page for your hotel. If you don't have that, you need to check that out as well. Make sure you do have that. Now, what about, let's see, and there are some other things that I was looking at as well. So, and this is all about updating your some of the platforms that we utilize every day. CVN is one. Update that. Make sure there's photos. Make sure there's current photos. LinkedIn, have a LinkedIn page. Make sure the profile is updated. Make sure there's photos on there as well. What about your website? Are the website photos, are those updated as well? No one likes to see old photos. Okay, so update those. It doesn't take much to do that. You don't have to find a professional photographer and spend all this money. No, just update it. Use your iPhone or whatever phone you have. I'm sure it takes adequate photos where you can post those things, because the last thing you want are to have no photos. Okay, have some photos on there and make sure at least they're the most current ones, because people do look at that. And what about your third party sites? A lot of hotels do third parties, your OTAs, if you will. um, Priceline.com, Expedia, hotels.com, all those things. Make sure those are updated as well, because like I said, we tend to just fly around with, I guess, with blinders on, and we don't even pay attention to those things. But at the end of the year, we should always check those things. And we're in the last quarter of this year, right? So make sure going into next year, you're not doing the same things we're doing this year, meaning we don't have updated photos. We're not updating LinkedIn, or we don't have a LinkedIn page for our hotel. Everyone should have a LinkedIn page for their hotel or for their business. I mean, this is not just, I'm not going to just say this is relegated to hotels and destinations, but any company, any businesses that's out there, that if you do business on LinkedIn, if you have a LinkedIn profile, your company, your organization should have one as well. So make sure we're doing all the little things. It's the little things that make a big difference, because you never know who's trying to find you. What about your Facebook page? The same thing. You should have a Facebook page. If you don't have a presence, if your company, your organization, you as an individual don't have that, and you call yourself a business person, an entrepreneur, or whatever, especially if you're in sales, you need to have all this stuff. So I was, like I said, I was having this conversation with someone, and I was talking to him about, he's actually a friend, his business, and asking him how is he putting his brand out there. He said he gets a lot of business through word of mouth, or that's how he gets his business. I said, okay, well, what happens when this word of mouth dries up or it's not working? What are you doing then? He said, well, I posted some things on my LinkedIn page or my Facebook page. I said, well, how long ago was that? He says, like 2 years ago. Okay, right there. You need something fresh all the time. I'm not saying you have to do something every day like I do, but maybe let's try once a week. Let people know who you are, what you do, and how you can help someone, or someone that's out there. How would you help someone? Those are things we need to make sure we let people know all the time when we do these lives and have these conversations. People have to know what you do, who you are, and contrary to popular belief, everyone does not know who you are, what you do, or how you can help them. Okay, everyone does not know that. Everyone does not know where you work. They don't know the hotel that you work in. They don't know the position that you have. Let people know that. That's why we have this thing called social media. That's why we have that. I mean, I know there's a lot of things that we can do without on social media, but it is what it is, right? But control the narrative for your hotel, for your brand, for your company, for your organization. Okay, let people know who you are, what you do, how you can help. Hotels, destinations, what's new in your destination, what's new at your hotel, renovation starting, where we have a new chef. We just opened up a new restaurant, and we have a 100% vegan menu. I mean, whatever the heck it is, make sure people know that, because they don't know unless you tell them. Okay, we have to educate people. We have to continuously educate people, and that's a good way of doing that. And part of the conversation I had with Victor and Ria yesterday was have a presence without being present. What does that mean? Okay, we can't be around someone 24/7. We're not going to be having meetings and one-on-one appointments all the time. So what happens when we don't do that, or when we're not traveling? You can still have a presence or still be present without being have a presence without being present, without being in front of someone. And that's where social media comes in. So check out, once again, check out the podcast that I did yesterday. It is on my LinkedIn page. Is a LinkedIn podcast on LinkedIn. I said that, but it was regarding personal branding. Okay. And I talked about a little bit about a lot of different things and things that we can be doing that we're not doing. But getting back to what I said, hotels, make sure we do an audit of our LinkedIn page, of our Facebook page, of our website. Make sure of CVent. Okay, every hotel is on CVent. Okay, with your meeting space and all that. Make sure there's photos on there, adequate photos, new photos, updated photos. Okay, people are looking for that. That can be the difference between me stopping and looking like, oh, let me check this hotel out, or just scrolling by it. Like, what hotel wouldn't have photos? Who does that, right? But anyway, that is it. I just want to come on and talk about that for a couple of minutes, and my couple of minutes is up. So I'll do another daily check-in tomorrow. I'll be back in LA tomorrow. I've been gone for how long have I been here? I've been gone almost a week, right? I've been gone almost a week. I've been in Texas for about a week or so. So there you go. So make sure that we are, let's see, let me just make sure, did I miss anything? Did I miss anything? No, I don't think so. Any information? Okay, I got some information here. So if you don't follow me on IG, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Russell of Hotels or Russell L. Edmond. If you don't follow me on LinkedIn, go to Russell L. Edmond, and that's where I am. If you have any questions at all, feel free to email me, and my email is right there. Where is it? Right here. Bing. Russell at russellofhotels.com. I'm always accessible. I try to be accessible. Somebody's been calling me and emailing me and all kind of stuff. So look for some stuff to come up, because, like I said, there's some interesting people that have been reaching out to me, and I appreciate them. And we're gonna get them on and do a daily check-in with them, or on air with Russell of Hotels, because that's what it's all about. It's all about letting people know who you are, what you do, and how you can help. So there you go. So until tomorrow, have a great day. And once again, this is a daily check-in with Russell of Hotels. Until tomorrow, as always,